All right. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about my 2016 Beta 250RR and what changes I'm doing to the motor and what's going on with the bike in general. So yeah, I bought this bike used with about 40 hours on it, and when I got it, it was jetted just perfectly fine. There was no spooge. It was running super crisp. I think the jetting was spot on, but it had one problem. It was leaking a lot of gas out of the overflow. So every time I had it on the side stand like this, especially if it was in a little bit of an incline, it used to just leak. It was just dumping gas. It was really bad. And a quick couple of searches revealed that this is a super common problem with these any of these betas that come with a Cayenne carb, where the float level is set too high from the factory. So that's what was going on with my bike. So I took the carb out, I adjusted the float level, I set it to about 1 millimeter less than what it was set to from the factory. I put it back on, and that solved the problem. Like, no more gas dumping. I can have it on the side stand, I can lean it far enough, and still there's no more leaks going on. So that seemed to have worked. But as a result of that, it now has a slight lean bog, especially right off idle when I give it a handful of gas. So right off idle, if I just slowly crack the throttle open, it's fine. But to a point where I just give it a lot, there's a slight lean bog. And I tried turning the air screw both ways, all the way lean, all the way rich, and that didn't fix it. And it also seems to die every now and then off idle, which used to not happen before. So I'm guessing that's from setting the float level slightly lower. And now I think it needs a rejet. So I got a JD Jet kit for it. It cost me around $85. So I'm just going to open it and then install it and see if that solves the problem. All right, so I have the carb tilted this way, so I'm going to do the rejetting with the carb on the bike. I had to take the tank out because the throttle cable was kind of behind the tank and I didn't have enough slack. But essentially I loosened up this bolt over here and this bolt over here, so the carb can rotate freely, and I twisted it out this way. It's kind of hard to see, but that gives access to the jets. So here is the main jet, and then the pilot jet is in there, that's accessible with a screwdriver. So I'm going to take these out, see what was in their stock, and see what came with the JD jetting kit. Alright, so here they are. This is the main jet. It's going to be almost impossible to see, but this is a, maybe you can see it, 165. And then this was the pilot that was in there, and this is a, this is going to be much harder, but say 38. Oh yeah, there you go. So that's what was in there. So now let's see what the jetting chart from JD Jetting recommends. Alright, so here's what the JD Jetting kit came for. It's the same kit for 250s and 300s, minus a 250. So here's what it came for. It came with two needles, red and blue. Came with a needle clip on there. It came with a bunch of jets. So there is 4 main jets and 1 pilot jet, and their sizes are these. So the pilot jet is 38. That's the same one that I had in there. And then the most important thing, the sticker, which we can just throw away now. And then a spacer. This comes specifically for the betas. This is required for a power valve mod. I've still not made up my mind whether I'm going to do this or no. I'm definitely going to do the needles and jets. And then instructions. And based on this for the 250, I fall into this one, 0 to 3000 in California. So I need a 38 pilot, I need a 165 main, so these are exactly what I had in there. And then I need the blue needle in clip position 3. So I'm going to put the jets in first, then turn the carb around the other way, or somehow get to the needle and change that out. Alright, and then I have the slide, the needle, and the spring. There's a spring, there's a little holder thing, the slide, and the needle. So I got this out on the bike. Now there's just this, it's a 6mm bolt in there, so I just need to, or the screw or whatever, so I just need to take that out, and then the needle will come out. We'll go from there. Okay, here's a quick glance of what was in the bike. So this is originally what came in the bike. 165 main, 38 pilot, NOZJ needle. It says that on the needle. Clip position, it's in the third clip position. Slide is 7. It says that right here somewhere. Yeah, right in there. It's hard to see, but it says 7 in there. And then if I look at the beta's jetting chart, this is what it should be for my elevation 0 to 1000 feet and temperature 6178. And the main should be 168, pilot 35, NOZJ needle, clip position 2, slide 7. So the main, pilot and clip position are all off if I compare it to the beta's jetting chart for my temperature and elevation. And then JD, this is much closer to what I had in the bike. They recommend 165 main, which I had in there, a 38 pilot, which again I had in there, blue needle. I'm not sure how it compares to the stock beta's NOZJ needle. I'm not sure. Clip position 3, and slide it says to use the OEM slide, so 7. So this jetting is a lot closer to what I already had in the bike, which kind of makes sense. Most of the difference that the JD is supposed to make is their unique needle design. So yeah, I already put the jets in there. I closed the float bowl. I got the needle out. I'm going to put the new one in there in this clip position and see how that all works out. Alright, so about the power valve mod, essentially what they have supplied is a washer, and what they recommend you do is you take the power valve core out, and then there are 2 springs inside. There's a bigger spring, and then inside that there's a smaller, lighter spring. They recommend that you get rid of the smaller, lighter spring, and instead you put this which acts as a shim and increases the preload on that one spring that you'll put in there. And essentially what this is doing, if I understand this right, is it's making it easier for the power valve to open. So the power valve will open much earlier in the RPM range, and I'm not really looking for that. I'm happy with where I've set it now, which I think is flush with the case, and that's not what the manual calls for. It calls for 1.5 turns in, but I have it flush with the case, and I found that gives it like a super linear 4-stroke like power delivery, because then you don't have that sudden feel of the power valve coming on when you don't expect it. Well, at least for my riding style, I prefer it being flush with the case. So I've decided to not do this mod, but I may give it a shot later. This is super simple. It'll probably take like 5 minutes to do, but I'm going to skip it for now. Alright, so I have everything buttoned back down. The carb is in place. I put the seat, tank, everything back on, and I fired it up right away. It's idling great. I have the air screw based on the stock. The beta recommended 1.5 turns from fully seated, like seated all the way clockwise and then back it out 1.5 turns, and it fired right up. It's idling fine. The bog is gone. It seems to be running super crisp. I need to take it for a ride, so I'll know for sure, but I'm fairly happy right now. I think it has solved the problem that I was looking to solve. We'll see how it behaves in different temperatures and stuff like that. But yeah, so far so good.